Hi, I'm Bybreen Samuels and welcome back to another episode of Soul Stirring Astrology, where I'm sharing my Sun Sign series, and today it's the Sun in Gemini. So a key phrase associated with Gemini is I think. The reason for this is because Gemini is ruled by Mercury. Other words that are attached are about mutability, flexibility, as well as being the non-conformist. Now, Gemini is the first air sign and the first mutable sign that we meet in the zodiac. So there's an aspect of your personality that really is flexible, that is very comfortable being around diversity in all of its guises. That's diversity of information, diversity in people, diversity in the world. And so what you also love doing is gathering different and disparate pieces of information, making sense of it and then disseminating it to the world. You also can tap into the zeitgeist, picking up the trends, what's on the horizon, what's going on in the underworld and the underground, and then bringing it to the surface. It reminds me of one of my best friends, and his name is Savvy, and what happened was about 15-16 years ago he used to be talking about this up and coming singer called Amy. He said she's going to be big, she's going to be big, she's going to be big. Anyway, one evening I went over to his place and he was playing her new album, her first album, and he said, believe me, she is going to be big. And it turned out to be Amy Winehouse, of course. Rest in peace, Amy, for sharing your beautiful gifts in the world. But he was right, she was massive. And that's just one example of being able to read the zeitgeist, picking up on popular trends and cultures and diversity, and then sharing that with the world. Now, Gemini rules the hands, the arms, and the nervous system. And as the great astrologer Dame Rudyard once said, that the air that you breathe has been exhaled from somebody else's lungs. And so what it does, it's indicating to you that, yes, you're great at gathering all of this information, but you're attached to humanity. You are a mere mortal. You are somebody who needs to be part and parcel of humanity, because this is going to lead you to your own sense of self-fulfillment. We've got this duality going on with Gemini. So if we think of the twins, Castor and Pollux, they showed the split personality. So there could be a part of you that is quite spiritual on the one hand, or very practical on the other hand. And what you're seeking to do is to live a sense of wholeness. So you're trying to bridge the gaps between the different parts of your personality. If we look at the Roman numeral 2, it's very similar to the symbol of Gemini. Then again, if we stay with Rome, we can look to Romulus and Remus, the co-founders, the twins who were the co-founders of Rome. If we turn to Chinese culture, we've got yin and yang. So we've got this duality, and what you're seeking to do is traverse the terrain and to harmonize them. So you love being a part of the world, you love gathering information, you love dissecting the information. So there's a part of you that's very logical, very sequential, and sharing that information with the world. However, the famous psychologist Carl Jung queried this approach to life because, you know, this overemphasis on reason and scientific data and proving things takes you away from the feeling aspects of your world, which then enables you to tap into your creativity. And through your creativity, you're able to bring out your own uniqueness. So you're not just relying on gathering facts and information. It's about, you know, what lies within you and how can you begin to share that with the world. So Gemini is ruled by Mercury, and Mercury is also known as Hermes. And Hermes was a messenger that lived between so many different worlds. He also was the messenger to the gods, but he took the messages from the gods and brought them down to us mere mortals. So it's about the sharing of ideas. He lived in different worlds. So he was also the patron of thieves. He was the patron of merchants. He was the lord of shepherds. And so there's this mutability and this flexibility with Mercury as well as Gemini, but also the darker side is that Mercury was also the trickster. So there could be a part of your personality where you could be tricking other people or being quite manipulative over other people in order to get your way. And then obviously you could be tricked or manipulated. On a more positive note, because of your diversity of information and facts, one of the great things that Mercury was able to do was to solve other people's problems, because they had problems and you had the solutions because you're widely read and can come up with different ideas that can lead them forward. So with this mercurial dynamic, with this ability to gather facts, what you want to do is to be able to set the facts in context. And what can help you here is turning to Sagittarius, as well as Jupiter, because Gemini rules the 3rd house, and then Sagittarius is opposite in the 9th house. And so Sagittarius is very good for Gemini, and the reason for this is because it's a very wide landscape that is full of philosophies and ideas and different belief systems and religions and spirituality and diverse cultures and information. And so this will enable you to grow away from the facts, to be able to give you some perspective on the facts. And as a result of giving you the perspective on the facts, you are then able to move into your own sense of wisdom. And by tapping into your own sense of wisdom, you can then start rebutting this tag or association that, you know, Geminians are like the eternal youth. Not wanting to grow up, and there's this focus on the future but not really paying attention and having any commitment to the present day, and not really stepping into the Saturnian part of you, which is calling for you to be more responsible. So the lessons here are about how can you have this sense of the childlike aspect to your personality, but also give it some depth and gravitas, because you're looking at philosophies and different points of view that then enable you to set a wider context, and from that you are then able to develop your own sense of wisdom. So that brings me to the question of the day, and the question of the day is this: how would you describe the value system that you live your life by? Put your answers in the comment box below, because you know I always love to connect with you. Feel free to share this episode with people in your network. You can like and subscribe. Also, you can attach or add this episode to your playlist. Until then, stay well, and I will see you again on the next episode.